Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to another Tin Dog podcast. Going to be talking about The War Doctor Begins Enemy Mine, which is the sixth of the War Doctor Begins sets. These are the Jonathan Carley ones, where he's playing the part originally played by blah 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 blah. You know all this already. You do. You don't need me to bang on about how great Jonathan is, about how much we loved the original story 10 years ago with Jonathan Hurt, and how these are a brilliant reimagining and I just can't tell the difference. I've done this so much. I love these box sets. For me, all of the versions of the Time War that Big Finish have done, this is the one that I can most relate to. And yeah, when I met Jonathan at Hooverville, he did call me his biggest cheerleader, because at the beginning I was there and I was seeing how absolutely brilliant these stories were, because they are. The guy's been given a masterclass in acting, and it shows. It comes through in every single performance, and it's his Doctor. It's alright, it sounds like Jonathan Hurt, but it also sounds like him acting. It's a great performance, genuinely. So what we've got is the three stories that make up this box set, which is the end, we'll talk about that in a minute, of the War Doctor Begins set. This is series 6, 3 stories. Hybrid Choice, Fear Nothing, and Exit Strategy. Now, Hybrid Choice is being written by the person that plays Case. Now, a lot of people out there, especially in the UK, are a bit kind of, oh no, let's pigeonhole people. You can't be an actor and a writer. Well, you can. And such an absolutely beautifully constructed piece, this first story. It's just, see, for people who like pigeonholing things, and let's face it, we're Doctor Who fans, we often do things wrong. We'll put our hands up 20 years later and go, I was wrong about that. It's too late at that point. So pigeonholing is a terrible disease. We think, oh, they're only good at that one thing. And people are complex, interesting and intricate people. Now, let's put it this way. If you've played a character for getting on for 5 years? Off and on? You know that character. You've experienced them, you've taken the lines that other people have given you, you've absorbed them, you've given your take on them. So by the time you reach the end of your character's arc, arguably, then you know how they work, because you've been present at every single moment of their existence. So when it comes to writing a piece that has that character in it, they are the most perfectly situated and suited for producing that piece. And that's what we've got here. An absolutely gorgeous piece of narrative. Here's a synopsis. The War Doctor believes Case is dead. Oh yes, that was a bit of a bad thing at the end of the season. But her true fate may be worse. Embracing her Dalek nature, recruited to the enemy's cause, but serving her new masters is not easy. The Dalek Time Strategist knows that Case is in a conflict and seeks a way to seal her fate forever. This has one of the single most interesting types of Dalek ever, the Dalek Therapist. There are some brilliant lines that you would want to lift and just place in various podcasts and just have them going on. So, she's produced an absolutely gorgeous piece, but this Dalek, this Therapist Dalek, is a creation that Nick Briggs is voicing and is just so damn clever. You know the bit that you've got, would you like some tea? You've got some great stuff here. Stuff you will want to, well, not lift, but you want to listen to, and it'll just bring a smile. The second story, Fear Nothing by Mark Wright. Mark's always producing some good stuff. and this is no exception. The War Doctor's search for Case is diverted by Commodore Tamasan. Summoning him against his remote TARDIS drydock facility at the very edge of the war, Tamasan has a dangerous proposition. But what's her true agenda? Case has been unleashed by the Daleks to eliminate a key Time Lord asset, an asset who could change the course of the Time War. With nothing left to lose, Case has nothing left to fear. It's the most, I don't want to say ordinary, but this is the most accessible of all of the stories because it has the narrative that we've expected from the Time War. Somebody is trying to do something. The Time Lords are upping the game. There's a new type of TARDIS. There's some brilliant business going on with TARDISes in general. This is what I'm here for. This is why I'm here. I love the whole Gallifrey thing. I love the whole what they're really getting up to. I love all of that. It always makes me very happy. And it's so damn dark. But not as dark as episode 3, because this is the end of a 6-box set arc, and it's going to end well, and it's going to end in tears, and Paul McGann's on the front of the box. Yeah, you heard it here. Well, you didn't hear it first. You've got Paul McGann playing the 8th Doctor, as always. Not as always, but you know what I mean. And he is here as himself, and I don't want to say that much more. I wish you'd seen it. I wish I could chat with you about it, not seen it, heard it, and then we could just chat and go, yeah, when this happens, what about this? Oh, isn't that... But I can't do that because I don't do spoilers. Case is with the Daleks, but the Emperor is yet to be convinced of her effectiveness, because the Emperor is, let's face it, a bit mental. The Dalek Time Strategist will not give up and takes Case on a secret facility for readjustment. The War Doctor will not give up on Case either. He hopes she can still be rescued, but he's not the man he was, and he may not be that man who can save her. It's so clever, so well constructed, and you know what? If I tell you what it reminds me of, that means you'll figure it out, and you're clever. You really are, and I'm not here for the spoilers. I'm not. But oh my God, it's so well done. Paul puts in a brilliant performance, and there's a new character called the Nurse, who I genuinely want to reappear elsewhere. And let's face it, it's a time travel show, that could happen. Played by David Monteith, a time traveller who could basically be called the actual Doctor because they're a medic. It's lovely. I will miss so many of these characters. And you know what? I didn't realise that this was officially the end of The War Doctor Begins. Will Jonathan Carley be doing any more of the voices for the Doctor? I mean, let's face it, he is officially the War Doctor for Big Finish, but he's busy, he's doing other stuff. He's got work, actual work. So I was a bit dubious. Now, I know that there's a whole Rutan War thing coming on, so that's made me feel better. So perhaps, hopefully, for me, there will be more Jonathan in a different range, because this isn't the War Doctor Begins anymore. Let's face it, he is just the War Doctor. No one else is going to do it. And I'm not. Because I was going to do my impression again. And I threaten this every time I do a War Doctor review. But let's face it, I'm just a little bit embarrassed, because he just does it so much better. Here's the trailer, and decide for yourself. And it's not quite what you have in mind. Nope. Sounds too much like a Muppet. Here's the trailer. Be seeing you.
The cyborg. Her name is Case.
From Big Finish Productions. Doctor Who. The War Doctor Begins. Enemy Mine.
You are making excellent progress, Hybrid. Your Dalek siblings are immensely proud of you.
A Dalek facilitator. My own personal therapist.
For your first mission, you will entirely annihilate Tenacity 4.
Feels like what I'm made for.
Of course! This is one of the old TARDIS drydocks.
Behold the next generation in TARDIS weaponization. The prototype Dreadnought class.
But this is abhorrent.
A prototype you will command.
Berserker mode active. Look out! Incoming!
Back then! Tactical!
There will be no escape. No! Target locked.
I've got you. Here, take my hand.
I have but one wish. Victory!
Some causes are beyond rescue.
Who are you?
Someone who was never here.
I'll find Case. And I'll remove her from the Time War.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. For early access to reviews, follow the show on YouTube or Twitter @TinDogPodcast. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.